128. Twice. 1. 2. And then, since we know quicken spell, I can also do it a third time. Hello guys, first of all I want to thank everyone. We've reached 1000 subs. I plan to make a big video for it and it's gonna be a very cool build. But until then, well, first I need to get to level 11 to do that. But thanks to everyone so much for being here and for supporting the channel and for following and for subscribing. It's really been wonderful. So yes, let's get into the Storm Sorcerer build. So the Storm Sorcerer build is a build that relies on comboing the Tempest Cleric Channel Divinity Destructive Wrath, which allows you to replace all the damage that you would do for lightning or thunder with the maximum possible damage. So if a spell reads 86, it wouldn't roll die, it would just be 48. And Sorcerer's meta magic to combo that into something very strong. I've also added a level in Wizard down the line due to the ability to read scrolls, and so that we don't fall behind on our spells progression, but we'll go through it step by step. So let's look at the items that I'm wearing at the moment. I haven't found any useful rings so far. The Ring of Mental Inhibition might be alright. It actually, whenever an enemy fails a saving throw, they have a penalty to their Wisdom, Intelligence and Charisma saving throws. Since you're going to be casting Lightning Bolt, you might as well debuff your enemy's ability to resist spells for your cleric or for other reasons. I'm also using this Necklace of Elemental Augmentation. So whenever one of my cantrips deals damage, those types of damage, I get to add a little bit more damage to it. It's not much, but it is something. The boots, I haven't really found any immensely useful boots. Then for spells, for gloves, I use the Daredevil gloves. They give you a +1 to spell attack rolls, which is good when you don't want to miss those. For armor, there's a lot of armors to put on. The Potency Sparks Wall armor, it works very well with the build, but the armor class drops by a lot. So I just prefer wearing the Float Helldusk armor. And for the headband, I wear the Headband of Intellect. Alternatively, sometimes I do this Mask of the Shapeshifter, and you get to cast a level 1 spell for free, and then you get a free bonus action flight. I can't use it now because we're in the camp, but we'll go through that. Let's go through it step by step. So level 1, you want to start out as a Sorcerer. Why do you do that? Because Sorcerers get proficiency with Constitution saving throws, which is something that is important in all spellcasting classes. It helps you maintain your concentration on spells. This is very good. This is very important. Always start with Sorcerer level 1. The spells I would pick would be Ray of Frost, Shocking Grasp, Firebolt, and maybe Mage Hand if you want to do some shenanigans here and there. Bone Chill is also good because somebody in your party needs to have it in order to be able to prevent healing on enemies. Then for spells, you definitely have to pick Chromatic Orb, and I would recommend Thunder Wave as well. Thunder Wave is one of those spells that can be ignored easily, but this thing pushes your enemies off cliffs so often that if anybody ever gets in melee and you just want to get away from them, you can just push them with this or throw them off cliffs, and it's an AoE spell, so it's an area of effect spell. It affects a lot of enemies at the same time, so you could throw 3 or 4 enemies off a cliff. Now, between the subclasses of the Sorcerer, Wild Magic is the most fun randomness. You could go for it if you wanted to. Draconic Sorcerer will give you a boost to your armor class, and it's gonna give you some extra hit points, which is not bad, but the Storm Sorcerer will give you this ability to Tempestuous Magic. Also at level 6, it will give you resistance to lightning and thunder, where Draconic Bloodline will give you a bit of damage and resistance with the cost of a sorcerer point. Storm Sorcerer will give you a bit of damage and free resistance. So it's better. Well, this ability is very strong in the game, especially with how Larian arranges the battlefield, and it gives you free movement. It doesn't use up your movement. So it's bonus action, fly, and then you can walk. Nobody can catch you if you're using this. Well, not nobody. Some monks might be able to, but yeah. For stat allocation, I would definitely start out. Thank you for starting, Jakushi. For stat allocation, I would definitely start out like this or like this. The 2 points you can put wherever you want. You can never put them in strength. But the most important thing is that you have your charisma set to 17. Down the line, you will get the hair from Entiathel, which will put it to 18. And then on your first ability score increase, you will make this at 20. So this is good. This is important to note. I don't put points in intelligence since I wear the headband of intellect, which just sends my intelligence to 17. For proficiencies, well, I like the, since I'm the party's face and this is my main character, I keep them on deception and persuasion because it's things you use a lot in conversation. Now, for the first level up, you want to choose Cleric. Tempest Domain. Really important. Tempest Domain. It gives you a cool reaction. Whenever you are damaged, you can deal back lightning or thunder damage, but that's not why we do it. We do it for the channel divinity at level 2. And the sooner you get that, the better. For spells here, you could pick Thaumaturgy. It's actually very strong to have Thaumaturgy on you because it gives you advantage on some checks. And that's really important if you are the face of the party. If not, you can just use it on the resistance. Also, you could be trying out this build on Shadowheart, and if I wasn't playing a Storm Sorcerer, I would definitely be doing it on Shadowheart. Tempest Cleric, I would go Tempest Domain. Deity, I picked Saloon because it's the opposite of what Shadowheart has, so I wanted to see the interaction between them. Then for spells, I would have Create or Destroy Water. And I will tell you why. So, whenever you cast Create Water on someone, it gives them the wet condition. Even if they have resistance to lightning damage, it changes their resistances to lightning and cold damage to vulnerable. That means you do twice as much damage. That means that if a spell would do 50 damage with your channel divinity, now it will do 100. And that's how you play the game with this class. And then if it crit, it would go to 200. Then again, on level 3, you take another level in Cleric. I would also prepare maybe Command at this point. Since you're not going to have a lot of points in Wisdom, Sanctuary might be good, or Protection from Evil and Good, or Shield of Faith, or Healing Word. So I usually keep Healing Word because it's a way to use your bonus action instead of your action to bring up a party member that's down. It's not going to do much healing, but one healing is better than no healing. In the case where someone is downed, one of your allies. Okay, now for level 3, you want to continue as a sorcerer. For spells, you can choose whichever one you prefer. You could use, you see, the yellow ones are the ones I already know from my wizard. I've already learned from my wizard. I could maybe, at this point of the game, use magic missiles. They will be useful for you. And then I would choose distant and twin spell. Extended is okay, but it's not that great. And careful just makes them save their saving throw. They still take the damage. I'd rather just position my spells better. Shield is a cool spell, but I would never give up on those two. Yeah, you could also take shield if you want to. Shield is also good. Now again, we can continue with our spell progression or pick a wizard level at this point. I really like hold person for you at this point of the game. Nog is cool because you don't have to spend any time on any chest anymore. Enhance ability, if you don't have another caster, is very important, especially if you plan on pickpocketing offenders. So make sure to pick that up. Misstep is a very cool way to reposition yourself. However, you have Tempestuous Magic, so you don't really need it. You can just cast a big spell and then fly away. Shatter is AoE thunder damage, so you would probably pick this at this level. And the most important choice at this point is Quicken Spell. Quicken Spell gives you the option to cast a spell in the... It would require an action to do so, now it requires a bonus action. So you cast an action with a spell, and with a bonus action you also cast a spell. Storm Sorcerer. Okay, this is the combo, this is the build, this is why we do this. This is water? No water. So, I want you to create water on the enemy, please. Create water. So it's time to do the melee sorcerer. Melee sorcerer thing. We'll go in melee. I know it sounds stupid, but bear with me. So we choose a 3rd level spell slot. We go 1, 2, insta death. Destructive Wrath, Lack of the Far Realms. Well, they're 128 twice. Yes. Now at level 6, I would probably pick my wizard level. It helps you keep up to date with your spell progression. So for wizard spells, I would pick Mage Hand, Minor Illusion, and Friends. These are useful spells that you're gonna be needing down the line. My Mage Hand helps you do some shenanigans. Minor Illusion helps you lure enemies to certain positions or people you want to pickpocket from. And Friends helps you with conversations that you might actually want to influence magically. Please note that the people turn hostile against you. They accuse you. They might not attack you, but they are definitely not friendly towards you afterward. For spells, I would pick Shield. I know we'll have Shield this time, but now we can change our Shield from the Sorcerer. We can just forget it from the Sorcerer, but we're gonna learn it as a Wizard. Find Familiar so that you can summon a pet. Tasha's Hideous Laughter is cool. Protection from Evil and Good is good. Maybe Charm Person is also good for interacting with people, and for Cloud, well, we get for Cloud from our Clerics, so maybe Enhanced Sleep. That would be something that you could do for your allies if they have trouble jumping over areas. Alternatively, Ray of Sickness will just poison a target and give them disadvantage on all their attack rolls. And Magic Missile will help you do a little bit of damage for certain. Let's say there's 5 enemies with 1 HP, or you're fighting Anti-Ethel and she has 5 clones. You can just use Magic Missile, target each one of them, and it just breaks the illusions. For prepared spells, as you can see, because I know higher levels, it allows me to prepare higher level spells. Even though I never actually learned this as a wizard. I learned them from spell scrolls. So this is why you take wizard, because right now I can just have a conjure minor elemental next to me and at no cost at all, for just 1 level in wizard. And since you are 2 levels cleric, you would always be behind on your spell progression. So the fact that you can do this with a wizard makes this build even better. This is something that I wasn't aware that would be in the game and it shouldn't have been in the game when I was making the video. Now for the extra cantrip, I would pick something I think acid splash is a little bit better than poison spray. Con saves are very hard to get through, and it's a close range skill where acid cantrip has a range. I never use it though, so you could even consider Blade Ward at this point. Then for spells, we want to be replacing shield since we've learned it from our wizard subclass, and learning something else. Again, large or reduce could be useful for your allies. Hold person is very good. Actually, I would pick hold person here. And this spell really doesn't matter as much. Let's say that you don't have a cleric and you want to be enhancing ability so that you can give advantage on stealth checks to your thief when he's stealing, or yourself advantage when you're doing an important roll about wisdom or history. Then for level 1 and for level 4 ability score increase, I would pick Charisma. We also get +1 from anti-ethels here. Let me show you. At this point my Charisma is 20 because I also have +1 from anti-ethel's boon. So now my Charisma is maxed out and all the spells that I know from Charisma are gonna be very hard to resist. And when I equip my Headbutt of Intellect, I'm also smart. Now, the rest of the level progression is just Sorcerer, because you actually get more sorcery points with every level in Sorcerer. This is why this build is strong. When you get more points with Sorcerer, or more sorcery points, you can do a lot more things with your spells. So instead of you can twin the spell, you can cast a second spell with your bonus action. It's essentially a very strong thing to have. And then for level 3, you have to learn Lightning Bolt because you want to be using it from your Sorcerer spell class, not from your Wizard, because you have a slightly higher saving check for the enemy to succeed if you are using your Charisma as a Sorcerer instead of the Intelligence. So the spells you learn from your Sorcerer will be used using your Charisma. The spells you learn from a Wizard will be using your Intelligence as a modifier. And the spells you learn from Cleric will be using your Wisdom as a modifier. So if it would be 50% for them to succeed on a Fireball cast from Wizard with 8 Intelligence, it would actually be 80% for them to fail or 20% for them to succeed if I did the same thing with a 20 Charisma. However, our Intelligence is at 17 because we are wearing an item. So it's not that big of a difference, but how many times have you rolled a die in the game where you missed a check by 2? This is how it happens. And the higher it is, even the harder it gets for the enemy to succeed. Because enemies have bonuses on their stats as well. So always pick Lightning Bolt here. It's your bread and butter AoE spell. And then I would change at this point my Shatter because you no longer need it. You have better AoE. You probably already know Fireball from your Wizard right now. Into possibly Haste. Haste is one of the better spells, or counter spell. Haste is very good. The problem with Haste is that it requires concentration, and when you stop being hasted, you become lethargic, you lose your turn. So if you can't manage to maintain that concentration and you cast Haste, you basically lose the turn afterwards, so you have to be careful. Counterspell is also a good alternative. Because I get haste from another item, I just have counterspell right now. But either is good. Either is a very good option. You get Fireball from your Wizard. I guess you could also get it from here and learn haste from your Wizard. The thing is, I haven't found a haste scroll yet. Fireball is good whenever you just see somebody turn invisible and you know where they are, but you cannot pinpoint exactly where they are. Guys, so as I was editing the video, I realized something. You could actually take a 2-level dip in Wizard instead of going full Sorcerer. That would actually allow you to get the Divination subclass of Wizard, which gives you Portent, which essentially allows you to change any die with a reaction. So after each long rest, you gain 2 random Portent dice During the day, you can use your reaction to change the die of any attack roll or saving throw rolled near you to your important die. This could be very good because it could allow an auto crit, or it could force a fail on an enemy, which is very, very, very strong, and it's definitely worth losing one sorcery point over this. So make sure to also get 2 levels of wizard. Okay, so this is the build. I forgot to mention earlier, I also use the spell Sparkler, which gives you lightning charges, which boosts your damage a bit, and I also use a shield. I use the adamantine shield on the character. It's a very unique item. It prevents critical hits of being landed on you, which is very good when you don't have a lot of HP. And yeah, and I also wear the Darkfire shortbow, which allows you to cast haste and gives you some resistances to fire and cold. Okay, so now let's see how this build works. So just so you know, I always use my cleric to cast aid on my party, and the highest possible level of aid. It significantly boosts their HP. So look at now I have 60 HP. I cast aid. I'm at 75. I have as much HP as a barbarian would have at this point. Also, we haven't talked about Illithid Powers. For Illithid Powers, I think there is a spell called Free Cast as well, which is very strong. I haven't unlocked it yet, so I can't really show you. But what it does, it allows you to cast the next spell you use to be free. So you don't use a spell slot, and you don't lose your channel divinity. But also, I go for favorable beginnings and Lag of the Far Realms. So what this does is allows you to automatically create something, a spell that hit. So let's show you what this spell does. You could also throw a water bottle if you don't want to use a spell slot for it. So right now, as you can see, she's wet. So she's vulnerable to lightning damage. You could go for an AoE spell. Let me save, and because we're gonna come back to this. Use our Destructive Wrath, which is gonna maximize the damage. Now she made the save. You could also upcast the spell to give it an additional d6. So you could be using a 4th level spell slot to do that. 108. And this is you see, she just became Ash. Love the animation, so what did it here? It's a Fry Sorcerer. Fry your enemy Sorcerer. Now, alternatively, what you could do, which does a little bit more damage, arguably, is to twin a chromatic orb of lightning and target Kaga and another ally next to her. Say that barrel. Then use Destructive Wrath, and if it hits, you can use Lag of the Far Realms, so you can turn that automatically into a critical. An alternative way of turning it automatically into a critical is casting Hold Person on her from another character or from yourself, but you wouldn't be able to concentrate on haste. You could cast Hold Person on her and go in melee to her, next to her. That would also do. And then you can do 160 instant damage. You can cast 3 spells in one turn. So let's say that the first spell you cast, well, at later levels when you have more sorcery points, you're gonna be able to cast Chromatic Orb and twin it at a high level, and then you'll also be able to do this. Let's not use it yet. Okay. Don't break my concentration, please. Okay, so as you can see, because I'm a sorcerer, it's hard for me to lose my concentration. So what I can do is 1, 2, and then since we know quicken spell, I can also do it a third time. So it's a 3 lightning bolt in a 1 turn sorcerer. It's very strong. Also, let me show you what I meant when I talked about Mask of the Shapeshifter. You get this at level 1. I think if you have the premium, the deluxe version, I'm not 100% certain. So you can just use your bonus action to fly. So let's say you can't reach an area. I cannot go downstairs because there's no way. Let's say there wasn't a path here. I would be able to use my action to, outside of combat, I'm going to be able to use my action and then I'd be able to fly over. And it's better than jumping because it can actually go up. As a wizard, you can prepare spells. You can learn spells from scrolls you find in the game, like Shatter or Hold Monster. Well, I don't have a spell slot for it. When I level up and get my 5th level spell slot, I'm going to be able to learn this as well. So right now, our sorcerer just learned 3rd level spells at level 8. But from the wizard, I can actually go here and learn up to 4th level spells. I can learn Blight. And now I can use Blight. I can prepare it and use it. The spell I liked the most from what I found is the Conjure Minor Elemental. Let me see, actually, let me make some sorcery slots, sorcery points. Yeah, I'm gonna burn some spell slots. I want to create some sorcery points right now. And you can make them stack. So Coffee Log exists. I didn't know that was the case. So you can actually play Coffee Log in the game. Good to know. We'll do that in another video. Conjure Minor Elemental, which is a spell I really like because I have the level in Wizard now. And let's see, can I get the second one? Yes. So you can actually make an army. Oh no, you can't. So you can only have one. Okay, fair enough. But you can have these Madman feats. They are my favorite, the Madman feats. And if you give them aid as well with your Shadowheart, they can have significant HP. They can go up to 33 right now. And what I really like about these guys is not the Death Burst, but the Mad Breath. It restrains your enemies, and you have advantage on attack rolls, and they have disadvantage on dexterity saving throws. So you could combo them with your lightning bolt. You can cast them before combat, and it's not concentration. So you don't have to concentrate on to have this follow you. So they just follow you. Just make sure if you're visiting an area to leave them outside because people consider it a crime to have monsters with you. Again, they can actually walk up to the enemy and spam this Mad Breath, and then you throw your lightning bolt, and they have disadvantage because they're stuck in mud and it's hard for them to move around. So yeah, guys, this is the build. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for subbing. Thank you for engaging in the community. I've been blessed to be around you guys and have all the support you guys have been saying in the comments, and it really motivates me to do even more and have a lot more plans about it as well. So thank you guys for being here, and I'll see you around.